Was that reading hard for you? I mean, did you come to Unitarian Universalism to escape all that religion stuff? I might have some bad news for you. Unitarian Universalism is a religion. It's just maybe a different kind of religion than you're used to. Helverson's reading that we just took part in is an invitation to shift our gaze and to think about things a little differently. It's all about perspective. It is so easy to fall into the trap that there is only one way to perceive something. And yet when we take a familiar place, on the screen is the Emerson Room where we gather for food and fellowship, and if we can reimagine it as a dynamic collection of colors and shapes through this kaleidoscope vision, windows suddenly appear like jewels, and we open our hearts and minds to different ways of experiencing the world. So what if we did that with people, with ideas? Nothing is static. What if we substitute some different words for religion? How about faith, which I acknowledge can be tricky all by itself. So then we have faith when we stop deluding ourselves that we are self-sustained, self-sufficient, or self-derived. That tracks. We have faith when we look upon people with all their failings and still find in them good. I like that one. So let's try peace. We have peace when our hearts are capable of leaping up at beauty. We have peace when we have an abiding gratitude for all that we have received. I think before we can begin to think about choosing hope, the topic for today, we have to clear the slate and start with some fundamentals. Hope, like faith and peace, is contained in a category of ideas that are central to many religions. In fact, many people seek out a religious home because they are looking for hope, faith, peace, and maybe even love. Excuse me. If you haven't had your flu shot yet, please do. I have. This is not the flu. Don't want to make you nervous. If you're feeling itchy about the repetitive use of the word religion in that reading, it might not mean what you think it means. Those of us who have been abused by a religion or some people's interpretation of a religion can be reactive to words in this category. Religion comes from the Latin religare, which means to bind together. We get to decide what we are bound to. You can consider religion a path to bind you to the divine. Or maybe religion helps you to bind yourself to what I like to call deep self. And of course, a religion that has love at the center can also bind or weave you to others who share the same values. So this has been a bit of a side journey, but an important one as we continue into the notion of choosing hope. Hope binds us, religare, to a stubborn refusal to give ourselves over to despair. As the 19th century Swiss philosopher, poet, and professor from Geneva, Henri Frédéric Amiel wrote, "Hope is only the love of life," meaning that hope isn't just wishing, it's fundamental. It's an active embrace and desire for existence itself, a deep-seated affirmation of life's possibilities, even amidst uncertainty. Amiel experienced significant personal tragedy, losing both parents young, which shaped his deep contemplation on life, existence, and inner peace. So I want to go into that just tiny sentence quote, "Hope is only the love of life." So hope as an essence, it suggests that hope isn't a separate emotion, but the very love for life itself, a core drive to continue, to experience, and to seek good things. There's also a connection to uncertainty. Amiel famously linked hope this way, saying, "Uncertainty is the refuge of hope." Well, that, I think, feels backwards in many ways. What a beautiful challenge. Uncertainty is the refuge of hope. If it's a cave, hope sits inside it, right? Sometimes I should have made more visuals because sometimes the words get blurry and it's like, I don't know, it all sounds the same to me. But yeah, we'll leave that. It's also an affirmation of existence. It's a powerful statement that hope is a vital part of being alive, a continuous positive orientation towards living despite life's challenges. Hope is only the love of life. Only doesn't mean diminished, it means singularly. So if you've been hearing it in a diminished way, well, it's only the love of life. No, it is only the love of life. So let's return to the phrase that is our guiding time together, choosing hope. This hope is not a verb. I hope to see you here every Sunday. I do, but that's not the way this hope is working. This hope is a noun, a presence, as Amiel said, an essence, a way of being that we can cultivate. I want to cultivate hope in my own life as well as to encourage you in cultivating it in yours. And I am always about 2 seconds away from what I call the despair barrel. Do you have a despair barrel of your own? That's the place that your mind instantly goes when there's the slightest bump in the path, much less when something really enormous happens. I think despair barrels keep us from living our lives as fully as we might, because despair barrels are made from fear. Fear of not being or doing or having enough. And so sometimes we go looking for hope in all the wrong places. So let me tell you a story of Nasruddin. Nasruddin is the legendary wise fool folk hero of the Middle East. He was actually a person in the 13th century. I don't think he did all these silly things. But he ends up being all these stories about Nasruddin. So one night, a neighbor strolling by Nasruddin's house found him outside under the street lamp, brushing through the dust. "Have you lost something, my friend?" he asked. Nasruddin explained that he had lost his key and asked the neighbor to help him find it. After some minutes of searching and turning up nothing, the neighbor asked him, "Are you sure you lost the key here?" "No, I did not lose it here. I lost it inside the house," Nasruddin explained. "If you lost the key in the house, Nasruddin, why are you searching for it out here?" "Well, there's more light here, of course," he replied. If we look for hope outside of ourselves, then we are like Nasruddin, diligently searching outside for a key that he knows is inside his house, because the light is better out there. I wonder how that happens in our own lives. You know, I did see a few guilty looks, like when the punchline came, it was like, oh. So I know that I'm not alone in this, that sometimes I look for hope in all the wrong places. You know, maybe that's why I hear people say that hope is elusive, that it's hard to find and even harder to pin down. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. Emily Dickinson, who was not a Unitarian, but we keep trying to make her one. Hope may be free, but it is not on demand. Hope is cultivated. Today's theme of choosing hope was born out of Soul Matters, a living resource by and for Unitarian Universalists to engage with ideas that weave us together as a faith community. Religare. One of the exercises in this month's theme packet particularly captured my imagination as a way to share our hopefulness with each other. Inspired by Tibetan prayer flags and out of concern for our culture's heightened levels of anxiety and isolation, artist Candy Chang and writer James A. Reeves worked with the Rubin Museum of Art in Brooklyn to create a participatory art project they called A Monument for the Anxious and Hopeful. The project involved museum visitors filling out blank cards with their hopes and anxieties and then hanging them up on a public wall. Their goal in creating this project was to increase people's sense of hopefulness and break down their sense of isolation. And they succeeded. Participants, as well as those who viewed the exhibit later, reported that reading others' anxieties lowered theirs by making them feel like they weren't alone in their worries. Further, reading other people's hopes restored their sense of the world's giftedness and goodness. We're going to share just a few of them with you. Oh, sorry. Oh. This is the thing about sharing a script.
Right. I'm hopeful because blades of grass grow through the cracks in the sidewalk.
I'm anxious because we choose not to recognize each other's humanity.
I'm hopeful because I'm feeling more teachable.
I'm anxious because I forget to trust.
I'm hopeful because I feel more insight and control over my life.
I'm anxious because too many people don't listen to others, especially if they disagree.
I'm hopeful because young people are exposed to more and more sensitive discussions on treating women ethically and nonviolently.
I'm anxious because I see such a high level of tension and distance between people of differing opinions.
I'm hopeful because there's always something around the corner that could be wonderful.
I'm anxious because the world is changing with daily traumas and hateful intentions. Where do I fit? How can I get any peace of mind?
I'm hopeful because we are all united through a primal humanity.
I'm anxious because there are many things I can't predict or control about the state of our country and how it will affect my family and friends.
I'm hopeful because so many of the young people I know are striving for justice and equality for all.
I'm anxious because there is too much pain and suffering.
I'm hopeful because more people are engaged in the political process than ever before.
I'm anxious because I don't know what's next.
I'm hopeful because life is full of new opportunities every day.
I'm anxious because life is hard sometimes.
I'm hopeful because the future is full of opportunities and possibilities.
I'm anxious because people only seem willing to change when something bad happens to them.
I'm hopeful because art heals people.
I'm anxious because I have no idea what I'm doing ever.
I'm hopeful because there is so much good in the world. We have to look for it.
I'm anxious because we seem to have confused domination for strength.
I'm hopeful because I have so much love in my life.
We have hope when we stop deluding ourselves that we are self-sufficient, self-sustaining, or self-derived. We have hope when we see beyond the present, some self-respect beyond our failures. We have hope when our hearts are capable of leaping up at beauty, when our nerves are edged by some dream in the heart. We have hope when we have an abiding gratitude for all that we have received. We have hope when we look upon people with all their failings and still find in them good. When we look beyond people to the grandeur in nature and to the purpose in our own heart. We have hope when we have done all that we can and then in confidence entrust ourselves to the life that is larger than ourselves. We have hope and joy and peace and love when we participate in weaving the great tapestry of our lives in the context of community. May we never forget that we have the capacity to choose hope.